Mr. Angus' turn for 7 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Sylvester. I want to just say at the outset, what we're trying to do here is get at the facts. We have no axe to grind with aggregate IQ. Your evidence is as valuable to us as anyone else's. I would say that we are very frustrated because we felt the last time that your colleague, Mr. Massingham, was not forthcoming at all. And we have a number of questions. The fact that he's not here, to me, raises serious concerns because there's questions that I don't believe you can answer based on the Slack messages that we have from him. But we will, having said that, we will carry on. I want to go back to the conversation you and Chris Wiley had about the siloing and information between the Vote Leave and the Be Leave campaign. And he asked you if you siloed the information, and he said that you did not. Did you silo and keep those two campaigns separate?
Yes. We always keep campaigns separate. We kept all the information separate from the two campaigns. I did mention in my opening statement about the information that Facebook found about that one group, and I'll provide all that information, the evidence to you, just to demonstrate how that wasn't shared between the campaigns.
Okay, because I'm looking at some of the Google Drive documents that we see with on the Be Leave folder on the drive. It includes several senior Vote Leave staff members, employees of Aggregate IQ, company secretary of Be Leave. AIQ said that this work is siloed, but what we see from these Google Drive documents is that Be Leave documents were very accessible to the Vote Leave. So how could it have been siloed?
So we keep all of the information for our clients separate. What you're referring to is a drive that's owned by Vote Leave. That's really a question for Vote Leave. Okay. I know that they've made representations about that to the Electoral Commission, but I couldn't tell you what their process or anything was about that.
And Chris Wiley repeated under oath that you told him that what you were doing was completely illegal, and you knew it. He said that under oath, and we asked you, and you said you sent him a text saying that you didn't understand how he misunderstood that.
That's not the text that I sent. So Mr. Wiley and I had a conversation in April of 2017, well after Brexit, where we did talk about what the media was saying about Vote Leave and Be Leave. I've never believed that what we've done is illegal, and so I can't imagine ever having said that to him. With respect,
he said it under oath.
I understand
and
that.
The last time you were here, I asked you, and you said you were surprised, and you sent him a text. So now you're saying that wasn't a text?
No,
because we asked him, he said he never received a text from you.
So I'll just finish that by saying, we had that meeting in April, and we had a number of conversations, meetings, and text back and forth after that. I've never brought up the issue with him at that point because I didn't know that there was any issue, that he misunderstood or come to any conclusion different from what I came to a conclusion about our conversation. When I sent him a text was just recently when I learned of his very public allegations about having, him saying exactly what you're saying now. And so that would have been in the end of March, beginning of April this year. And so I sent him the message then, and the message was essentially, and I don't have it with me, but it was essentially to the fact, if you have a second, can we talk? That was all I said.
Okay, because, he said he never received a text from you, so would you share your text with us? Because it seems to me pretty shocking that a colleague of yours says that you were very emphatic in saying that you knew what you were doing was completely illegal, and you're just surprised by that. Did you say that what you were doing was completely illegal? Did you know what you were doing was illegal?
I don't believe we've done anything illegal, firstly. Secondly, to the respect of having sent texts, the message that I sent him was via a program that we've been using to communicate called Signal, and Signal deletes those messages after they're sent. Okay. So I don't have a record of that, but I know that I sent it, and that's why I say in and around the end of March, beginning of April. And to be completely clear, it was to a number that I'd last used to communicate with him back in September of 2017. And as I mentioned at the DCMS committee, it's entirely possible he's changed his number. I don't know.
So he might never. So he said he never got it. You might just have sent it to the wrong. I mean, for tech people, you guys should be more on top of this, I think, especially if it's your reputation to say. But I'm running out of time here, so I'm going to move on. I have a number of questions for your colleague who's not here, Mr. Massingham, based on the potential illegalities of using the Believe campaign as a money laundering vehicle for Vote Leave. And I want to just look through some of the conversations. Maybe you can help us because he's not here. But 10 days before the campaign ends, Darren Grimes, who's a 22-year-old fashion student, writes your colleague and says, we want you to take on this campaign for us. And the next day he sends a £400,000 order. That's a lot of money for a 22-year-old fashion student. And then Mr. Massingham responds to it at one point and says, we're on track to spend $300K today. Do you need me to grab some money for you? Where would you guys be grabbing money for your clients?
So the donation from Vote Leave to Believe came directly to us. And Mr. Grimes had expressed to Zach about how he needed some of that money for some activities they were undertaking. And so he was asking at one point for that money to be transferred back, but he inevitably resolved that issue and didn't require that. So
when Mr. Grimes wrote to the Information Commissioner saying what he got for £625,000 in 10 days of work from you, he said that you guys collected 1,000 phone numbers for him, 1,164 emails, and placed a few ads. Sounds like you guys were extremely overpaid, don't you think?
No. So we placed, and I don't have the exact numbers, but it was approximately, there's more than 150 million impressions. There was 800,000 clicks. There was a number of measures of what we provided, and we provided a full report to them about that at the end.
That's funny. Well, why would Grimes say it was just merely 1,164 email addresses? Because the question here is, how did this group that did not exist before come into £625,000 that was passed on to you, that Christopher Wiley has said under oath that this was basically set up as a money laundering campaign for Vote Leave, and you were the vehicle to do that? And when I see what he claims that work you did in that 10 days, that's not much work done for that amount of money.
So the amount of work we did was for exactly that amount of money. We provided full reports to Believe on that. We expressed to them before the campaign that collecting email addresses or mobile phone numbers is not going to be very efficient because it's such a short campaign. They agreed that that was okay, and their goal was to show the ads. That was their primary goal. If he's providing that information to the Information Commissioner, that's the only information the Information Commissioner would be concerned in with respect of how much information they collected. I'm sure Mr. Grimes has reported to the Electoral Commission all of the work that we did on his behalf in terms of advertising. With respect to the donation, as I said in my opening statement, that was demonstrated to be entirely okay under UK electoral law.
Well, it would be entirely okay if these were two separate campaigns, but they were being run out of the same office. The Google Drives were all connected. You were brought in to handle £625,000 in the final 10 days, and it was funneled through Believe. And again, Mr. Massingham says, do you need me to get you some money? And Mr. Grimes says, no, don't worry, Victoria Woodcock's going to get it for us. It sounds like you were just one very tightly run happy family, which would be okay if it wasn't against the law. And that's why we go back to the opening conversation we had about your conversation with Mr. Wiley, where he said that you knew and you thought it was funny that what you were doing is completely illegal, and then you tell us that at some point you sent him some kind of message to a phone or some service that may not exist anymore.
Well,
it just finds very hard to believe you. And you are under oath, remember.
I can only provide you the information that I have. With respect to the message that I sent Mr. Wiley, like I said, it was at the end of March, beginning of April, when I learned about his allegations about exactly what we're speaking about.
So did Mr. Wiley lie to our committee because he was under oath?
No, because the statements that he said at the time with respect to not receiving a text from me...
whether or not what you said was a complete lie, that you knew that what you were doing was illegal. Did he lie to our committee?
No, I believe he's mistaken. It's not a question of lying or not lying. I think largely
I believe it is.
Well, largely
when
what
someone says that what you were doing is completely illegal, that's a complete attack on your professional career, and he said you laughed. So that couldn't be a misinterpretation. That's either true or it's false. He either lied, or I'd suggest that you may be lying, but you can't just say it's a difference of opinion.
Well, this is
legal or illegal.
But this is a conversation that took place in 2017, in April of 2017. I don't recall ever telling him that I thought it was illegal. We did speak about the media and what they thought. Perhaps he interpreted what I was saying about the media as me saying it myself. I don't know, because I've not been able to communicate about them. But the best way to resolve this would be for him and I to talk about it. But unfortunately, that's not happened.
We are well over time, but thank you.